sounds like horse.
On a wagon? You left on a horse.
You know, my brother, he can leave on a horse and come home on a boat. Yeah, it's him, all right. He's got company with him. Lady company.
Oh, someone we know?
There's a fellow with him and
And, what?
Joe! Paul, come on, let me in!
Yeah.
That's me! Hey, meet some friends of mine. This is Daniel Pettibone and his wife, Robbie.
Oh, I don't believe I've heard Hoss mention the name Daniel Pettibone before.
I just met him today myself, Paul. They found him stranded up by Jackson Ridge.
Oh, well, Jackson's Ridge is a far place from anywhere.
Yeah, well, we were trying to reach Virginia City. And we got up there and there was no road or anything, so,
Oh, well, you must be very tired. Please, come.
Yeah, wait a minute, Paul. Before you do anything else, something I want to show you. Come here, Daniel. Show him. Come on. Dan, here's an inventor, Paul. Wait till you see this. It'll just about pop your head off.
I got water quick.
Wait a minute, Joe. Joe, no, wait. What do you think, Paul? You ever see the beat of that?
No, sir, I never did.
Yeah, well, what makes it go?
My husband doesn't mean to be rude. He has trouble talking to strangers, especially about his work. He's been laughed at so much.
Yeah? He didn't have no trouble talking to me. He liked to talk my arm off.
Well, you're the exception. You're very likable and very easy to know. I'll try to answer your question. The thing that makes it go is an internal combustion engine.
And he invented that, huh?
Oh, not exactly. The principle of an internal combustion engine's been known a long time. A man named Samuel Brown sold and built a kind of one in England 30 years ago.
Oh, like this?
Nothing like this. My husband's invented many improvements. Things far advanced, even for modern times.
this fuel, for example. It's a distillation of Scottish shale. An electric spark ignites this fuel.
And much, much else besides.
You understand it?
All right.
Paul, you don't have to understand it to see it's the biggest thing that ever happened.
Well, it's kind of little to me.
Oh, Joe, it's a model. From that, you make a big one.
And how big?
Oh, you know, about big enough to sit in.
What, sit in?
Sure, and that burn it, you gotta sit in it before you can ride in it.
What do you mean riding it?
That burn it, Joe, that's what it's all about. This thing's a self-powered wagon. You sit in it and you ride in it. You don't even have to have horses for it. Look, I'll explain it all to you later. Old Daniel ain't been feeling too good. And, well, I'm gonna put him and his wife up in that spare bedroom. Come on, Robin, you and Daniel. Man's gotta take care of his partners.
Hoss!
Sir?
Did you say partners?
Yeah. That's what I said, Paul. Partners.
Good night, sir.
And thank you.
Here we go again.
on, Paul. I want to get something straight once and for...
Step right up, neighbor. Come on. Come on, what you see before your bulging eyeballs are a collection of mechanical miracles designed to make a poor man rich and a rich man richer.
Now, hold on just one moment, little Joe. Don't forget that you have bought in your time some of these mechanical miracles, too.
Oh. But did I ever buy anything like this? That's a perpetual motion machine. How about this? Look at this goodie. That is a magic box. Now you see, open it up and you put a little lead inside and a little magic powder. You cook it, and silver comes out the bottom.
You didn't think this gold witcher was such a bad idea when I bought it.
No, you can't deny that, little Joe. I can remember your very words. Finding gold with that would be as easy as falling into a well.
All right. All right, so I made a mistake once. But did I ever, in my entire life, buy anything like this?
It was supposed to shoot around corners. It don't work no better than the rest of that junk. I bought it all, I know that. But what's that supposed to prove? Joe, Dal and his wife up there, they're honest folk. They ain't crooks. That power wagon is a real thing.
Hoss, I go along with you about those folks upstairs. I believe they're honest, too.
But
is this thing practical?
Practical? Boy, anything you can ride in, practical, ain't it? You build a full-size one and you can go almost any place.
come on. All right, you build a full-size one of those, and I'll find myself any tired, worn-out old nag, and I'll beat you to Virginia City by a day and a half.
Maybe you could now, but well, you take and you get some good roads and...
Roads. Can you rope a steer with that thing?
No.
Can you hitch 6 of these together and haul freight?
No, I reckon you could.
What are you gonna do with it?
Oh, dadgummit, I'm all mixed up. Now, this afternoon, when I sat up there on the tailgate of old Daniel's wagon, it was as clear to me as the nose on my face.
And you can't see it now,
Well, yeah, Paul, I can see it, but I can't explain it to you. You want facts and figures and everything proved out ahead of time. You just can't always prove things out ahead of time. Sometimes you got to just have faith, and you go ahead and do something, and then when you get it done, you point to it and say, now, that's what I mean.
I can't have faith in a silly-looking thing like that.
I couldn't either.
Well, that's up to you. Tell you how much faith I got in it. I'm gonna go to Virginia City with Daniel. I'm gonna help him get money together. We're gonna build a full-size one. You don't have to do a doggone thing. You don't have to put one drop of sweat in it or one thin dime.
I'll put $100 in it.
I'll put $50 in it.
If you ain't got no faith in it.
Hoss, we have faith in you. And if you believe so much in this contraption, well, maybe there is something to it. We'll back you all the way.
With money, muscle, or guns?
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now witnessing the first public demonstration of the Pettibone Power Wagon. We are prepared to offer you a share in this. Now, wait. I kind of got ahead of myself there for a minute. Something else I was supposed to say first. Now, Mr. Pettibone here and me, we're going to construct a prototype here in Virginia City. Later, we will manufacture full-size power wagons for sale. Wait a minute, that comes... Oh, yeah. Shares in the Pettibone Power Wagon Company are for sale at $10 a share.
Well, now, that's my kind of contraption. Knows right where it's going. Head for the bar.
give him room. I think he's going to be coming out of there.
I'll buy 4.5 shares of that Pettibone Power Wagon. I've been trying to get rid of him for 2 days.
Hooray for her! Doggone it, Big Red, that's mighty sweet of you, and you're not going to be sorry neither, you hear? Folks, I ain't much at making speeches, but if you'll all step in there to the bar, I'll stand the drinks. Hey! Set up the drinks.
Host, Jeff and I are buying in.
Oh, no, we ain't, that blasted.
Well, doggone it, Jeff, you seen it come in here of its own. Ain't no better use for that gold.
Same as throwing it away.
Well, you throw it away on booze.
Booze, that's what I dug it for.
Why, you...
All right, boys, all right. Let's break it up. We're going to tear up. Outside you go. I'll stomp a mud hole in you and weed it dry.
Yeah, go ahead. Do it. Head him loose.
How are you, Daniel?
I'm fine. You think you better stop them before somebody gets hurt?
Hurt them too? Daniel, their old hides as tough as an alligator. In fact, they do that every day just to keep limber. Look here, you go over here and sit down and take it easy. You just sit right here. I'll take care of that in there. What about it, Mr. Ogilvy? You want to buy in?
No, sir. I'm not putting any of my money in a contraption like that.
What do you mean, contraption? What's wrong with it?
It's a slick trick. Sucker bait. I don't trust that man.
The man over there you don't trust happens to be a very good friend of mine, Mr. Ogilvy.
You can't scare me, Horse Cartwright. We've all known you long enough to know you're honest. How long you known him?
Long enough to know he's as honest as I am, and a heap smarter. He can do more thinking by Monday noon than you can in a week.
If he's so smart, why can't he do his own talking?
Well, I reckon with all them brains, that's about all he can handle. Besides, he's got a big dumb partner to do his talking for him.
Well, if this contraption can do all you claim, why'd you come to Virginia City? You could finance it a lot quicker in San Francisco.
I'll tell you why he came to Virginia City. The doctors made him leave San Francisco, that's why. He ain't well. He's got pains here in his chest, and it hurts him worse when somebody's crowding him. Anything else?
Just one thing. There's a man who's been selling the good folks of Virginia City merchandise of all kinds for over 15 years. I say any man who invests good money in this infernal machine's a fool.
Then, sir, you must name me a fool. For herewith I pledge $1,000 to the Pettibone Power Wagon Company.
I'll be sawed in half with a blackberry vine.
Well, Mr. Rich.
I'm Cyrus K. Throckmorton, my dear. And that is my associate, Mr. Peter Long.
Howdy, folks.
Never heard of you.
Which is not surprising. I only arrived in your fair city yesterday. I am a broker and investment counselor known in the financial centers of New York, London, and Paris. Here to invest funds for Eastern capital. And now, sir, if you would introduce me to this genius who invented this mechanical marvel.
Yes, sir. This here is Daniel Pettibone.
Truly a great honor, sir. A man of your capabilities is rare indeed. I'd like also to meet your business manager.
Well, they ain't nobody but just me and Daniel here. I sort of figured on learning the business end of it as we went along.
An understandable error, sir, but a grievous one. The financial world is a teeming jungle to the uninitiated, strewn with many pitfalls. Let me think. There is a slight possibility I may be able to extend a guiding hand.
By golly.
I would deem it a privilege, indeed an honor, to contribute my time and not inconsiderable experience in financial matters to this enterprise as a service to the community. And now, let us have a closer look at this machine that Mr. Oglesby calls an infernal machine.
Wowee!
Beautiful little thing, isn't it?
Hey! Like I said, we're buying in. Like I said, we're buying in. Hey, you old girl. Hey! gonna kill him.
Now, let's see what we have here. Now, that's nice. Ah, blue and gold. That should appeal to the natives.
I never seen nothing so purty in all my days. She like something out in a dream.
Yes, yes, my boy. Beautiful indeed. And I have one for almost any endeavor you care to name. Forest lands, gold mine, dance halls.
I'll bet she ain't no dance hall 'cause she wants to be. A lady like that, she ain't always got her choice.
Yes, I think this will do nicely. Thing of rare beauty. We should have no difficulty in selling several thousand of these to the good people of Virginia City.
You ain't gonna sell Big Red none now.
To everyone an equal opportunity, my boy. However, the first order of business is to have some of these printed up. I should say 2,000 to begin with. Who's there?
It's me, Big Red.
Oh, just a moment, my dear.
Mr. Throckmorton, you said you wanted to talk to me.
Come in, my dear. Come right in.
Everybody's so happy you're going to handle the business end of the Pettibone Power Wagon Company.
Really? I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Miss Red,
You run along now, Mr. Long, and take care of the printing. Have it printed up just like that. Run along, my boy. Now, my dear, how would you like to enter into an association with Mr. Long and myself, say as a private secretary, perhaps?
Gee, it's what I'd like to do more than anything else.
Yes, yes. My dear, this is going to be the biggest thing that ever happened to Virginia City. Now, run along, and we'll discuss salary at our earliest opportunity. Out, 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 you hear? The printer! Now, my dear, I believe it's safe for you to leave.
Thank you.
I can't see anything except a lot of fire and smoke. Hey, that's Hoss Cartwright over in the back. See him? Oh, yeah, I do now. And there's Jeff and Jigger by the fire.
Kids must know Hoss pretty well if you can recognize him like that.
What are they doing in there, Mr. Pettibone?
Well, Sonny, they're trying to make a casting. It's the 9th time we've tried.
Well, how do you make a casting?
Well, you take some iron, see, and you melt it. And you pour it into a mold. Now, that mold is the shape of something you want to make. Now, when that iron cools off, it hardens. You take away your mold. And what you got left there is the casting.
What do they do with it?
You make an engine if it comes out right.
Boy, I bet your Hoss can make it come out right. I've seen him pick up a whole horse.
This is more like picking up an elephant.
But what if he can't do it?
Well, we can't do it. We just can't build the power wagon. But don't you worry about it. That Hoss is pretty stubborn.
Stubborn and capable. Darling, look what I have. Mr. Throckmorton had them made up. Isn't it darling? He's going to give one to everyone who buys stock in the company.
You boys like one of these?
We sure would.
There
What
you are.
is it?
It's a crank. Used to crank the Pettibone Power Wagon. You take this part of it, see, and you put it in the front part of the engine, and you crank it, you turn it, and pretty soon the engine starts put, 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 put.
Pat, 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 pat.
How do you feel, darling?
Oh, I feel great, just great. Come on, come on.
Don't overdo. Not now. Not when everything is going so wonderful.
Hey, Donald. about ready to pour that gasket. Come on. Okay. Take her easy. We sure don't want to lose this one. Set him down easy now. Here, Jigger, you get over here with Jeff. Easy does it. Got him? Yeah. Watch your step over there.
Jigger, be careful.
Watch your step.
All right, now, boys, just a little bit now. Just a little. That's it. Easy. Easy. All right, a little more. All right, lower her now and give her a little more. That's about it. Okay. Well, it seems to have settled a little better this time, huh?
Yeah, at least it didn't rile up, if that means anything.
We were whooped if it don't work this time. We've tried just about everything.
Come on, let's get that oven.
You just don't know what all this means to me. Working for Mr. Throckmorton and Mr. Long. Golly, and all these new ideas he has.
Yes, he does think pretty fast. Oh, don't worry, Reg. You'll do fine.
Well, I don't know. Well, you know. I never worked anywhere outside a saloon. I mean, all of a sudden, being a lady.
Being a lady is a state of mind. And I think you were always a lady.
I'm so happy. I think I'm gonna cry.
Oh, come on now. Don't do that. This is no time for tears.
Miss Pettibone, I'm just busting. I gotta tell somebody.
Tell what?
Pete and Pete and me is...
Really? You and Mr. Long? Oh, I think that's just wonderful. Aren't you just pleased to pieces?
Well, I'm more scared than anything.
Whatever for?
Well, I don't know about getting married. Gee, for the rest of my life and everything.
If my marriage should end tomorrow, I'd still call it the most precious thing in all my life. Here, it's my wedding veil. I've always kept it with me. I want you to wear it at your wedding. Here, let me help you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the marvelous Pettibone Power Wagon. Ladies and gentlemen, I see doubt in some of your faces. I even see rejection in some. But stay. Let me breathe a breath of life into this vision. Listen to me. Look around you. What do you see? Some will say only shacks. I say open your eyes. I see tall chimneys and enormous buildings with huge furnaces that spout streams of molten metal, where strong men pour and cast. And there at the end of the street, I see a many-windowed factory where lathes hum and drills spin, where careful craftsmen fashion gleaming parts out of raw steel. And there, massive and dramatic, there stands the assembly plant. An endless belt moves there, past each man, where in his turn he adds a wheel, a seat, a mudguard, until finally The Pettibone Power Wagon rolls from that line, a finished product, shining and powerful. Some of you may ask, what do we need with a power wagon? And some may say, no machine will ever take the place of man's most loyal friend, the horse. But I predict that this machine will travel in excess of 50 miles. Not in a day, my friends. No, not in half a day. But in the short space of one single hour. You, and you, all of you, will have the chance to share in this glorious future. That you may certainly prosper, that you possibly may even grow rich, that is not important. Far more important that you can say to your children's children, I was there. I stepped forward. I said, I demand my right to share. I thank you.
Good, Mr. Throckmorton. Real good. That'll sell a million.
Mighty nice of you to say so.
Listen, I better get down there and get me some of them stocks before they're all gone. Anytime Horace Ogilvy puts a nickel into anything, you bet he's figuring on getting $1 back. Give me $200 worth. Dang, Red, you sure do look pretty today.
I feel pretty, dressed up like this, working for Mr. Throckmorton. And guess what, Hoss?
What?
You tell him, darling.
Well, we're... neither one of you have to say nothing to me to figure out what you're up to. I'll bet you, dollars to donuts, you're figuring on getting hitched, ain't you? And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. For a wedding present, I'm going to give you the first genuine Pettibone Power Wagon.
This is the birdie now. Up here. Watch up here. Still. Very quiet.
Dad, burn it. Reckon where they could be. They're near a half hour late already.
It takes a while for the bride to get dressed, Hoss.
Hoss, why don't you sit down here? Let me get a picture of you in the Pettibone Power Wagon so I can have it. Want to take your own?
Yeah.
This all right for you, sir?
That's wonderful.
You better put a bigger plate in that camera if you expect to get it, Hoss.
The birdie.
Well, he ain't here either, is he?
Who, Pete? I thought he was with you.
Well, he ain't. He's gone.
Gone? What do you mean gone?
I mean, gone. That's what I mean. He was supposed to come get me, but I got tired waiting, so I went up to his room. And you know what I found? My Pete and that Throckmorton had packed up and pulled out, and they took all that money with them.
Come on, Red. Howdy, Miss Pettibone. I'm sorry to bother, but I need to talk to Daniel. Is he pert enough to talk?
Of course. Come in, Hoss.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Hoss. Robin here is the original model of the fuss budget. Any news of Mr. Throckmorton?
Daniel ain't no use in us fooling ourselves. That old scoundrel and Pete, too. They took that money. They had no intentions of bringing it back.
Is the sheriff trying to find him?
Oh, yeah. Sheriff and everybody else in town. They got a posse that's been all over the country. Daniel, you ever been in jail?
No, I never been in jail.
Well, it ain't really so bad when you got good grub. Sheriff Coffey's got the best grub in town.
Am I going to jail?
But why?
Horace Ogilvy's got half the town stirred up over that money it's gone. Roy Coffey thought it might be a good idea if Daniel came down and set a spell in the jailhouse. Just as a guest, you understand, not as a prisoner. You can lock the door from the inside and keep the key yourself.
I'm ready. Let's go. I'll be back.
Look at that. 8 times. 8 times that casting came out and busted. Wouldn't you know it, this time it's as solid as a dollar.
That means we could have finished building this whole rig. Daniel said there weren't nothing tougher than making that there casting.
Yeah, you ought to go out and try to raise some more money. That would be tougher.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Daniel in jail and no money. Boss, you figure you can finish building this here contraption?
No, Jigger. I didn't even know what we was doing when Daniel was here telling us how.
Maybe we ought to get drunk.
Drunk? Drunk? I'd get up a lynch party and hang Horace Oglesby higher than a hawk's nest. Oglesby got no call to work up everybody again, Dan. Dan never took his money.
Yeah, hit old Oglesby in the pocketbook and it sure enough hurts him.
Yeah.
Hey! Big Red. I'm your friend, Big Red. You ain't got no call to point that gun at me.
I ain't pointed at you. I just want you to come with me.
Where to?
To Burton Falls. And when we get there, I'm going to shoot a hole right through Mr. Pete Long.
Pete? Is that where Pete's at?
Right near there. I got this letter from him. Him and Throckmorton are hiding out close to Burton Falls, just waiting for the law to quit looking for him. He wants me to sneak out of town and meet him up there. Me! He thinks I'm a crook, too. Why, that dirty skunk. I may be a floozy, but I'm an honest floozy.
You're doggone right you are.
They're staying at the old Perkins place. Dad burn it, no wonder we missed them. Who'd have figured they'd have gone to ground so close by? We kept riding right on by them.
Old Throckmorton's smart as a fox.
Yeah, but his partner ain't. Old Pete couldn't think of lick to begin with, and then after he fell in love with Big Red here, he just went plumb simple. No offense, Big Red.
Don't make no difference. I'm going to shoot a hole right through him anyway.
Now, Big Red, I don't know nothing about that, but if you can ride a horse, you're welcome to come along with me, but this gun's got to stay.
Let's go.
Come on.
I don't blame you for covering up this dad-blame casting, Jigger. It ain't no good to us now.
I ain't covering that. I'm uncovering this. Hey, I put that in there for an emergency. When that big redhead come in here with that there shotgun, that makes this an emergency.
Know what this is? Tar. These are feathers. Tar and feathers for you, you thieving swindler. We'll paint you if we have to wait a year. Here's something else for you. Something the stockholders wanted us to give back to you.
Soon. It's too soon. They're not ready. Jenny.
Everybody's equally fair. Why eat your heart away for one?
There ain't but one like Big Red. I sure wish she'd show up.
Any reason to suppose she might show up?
No. None I could think of. She might get lucky or something and run into us.
Ah, marvelous. Good beans, enough bread to last us for several weeks. A modest share of $25,000. Your cup should be full to overflowing, my boy.
I'd rather have Big Red.
Do you hear horses?
No, just wedding bells.
All right, boys, just hold it right where you are.
Well, Hoss, Red, what an unexpected pleasure. You're just in time for an evening repast.
Oh, honey, I was afraid you didn't get my letter.
Letter? What letter? Why, you ungrateful snake in the grass.
Don't look to me for no sympathy, you dirty black skunk.
You two ain't just about the worst reprobates I ever seen. Living out here in this comfortable cabin and cooking beans, and underwear. While poor little Dan Pettibone sits in that jailhouse.
Dan's in jail? What'd he steal?
Nothing. He got blamed for what you stole. You still got that money, ain't you?
That money is a sacred trust. We're guarding it with our lives. Why, every penny of it is right there under the bed. In that valise. Charge! To the barricades! Attack! Hit him with something! Give me that gun!
Hey, them Stolmans could hurt a fella.
Yeah. Looks like it's about over.
Where's that gun? Oh.
My Pete! Sweetie pie! Sweetie pie! You killed him!
Big Red, Pete's all right. He went through that wall head first. Red! Big Red. Hey, how come you didn't shoot me? Ain't that gun loaded? Won't he shoot?
It'll shoot. It's a weakness I had since I was a boy. I never could shoot a friend.
What I can't figure out is why you wanted to take that money in the first place. If you wanted to get rich, you could have stayed with a Pettibone Power Wagon Company and got 10 times richer, just like you said. Why did you have to steal?
Because I'm dishonest.
All right, you two stand right there by the bar. Stay put. Here it is, boys. Every penny of it. And there's Mr. Throckmorton to tell you how sorry him and Pete are for trying to run off with it.
Well, yeah.
What's the matter with everybody? I brung your money back to you.
I reckon it's my place to tell you, Hoss. I fixed up a mess of tar and feathers and threatened Dan Pettibone with them. Doc says his heart failed him. He passed away.
He died?
His missus said it could happen any time, Hoss.
Yeah, I reckon I knew that. But I'll guarantee you one thing. Dan Pettibone didn't die of fright. He wasn't scared of nobody. That don't make the news no better, though, does it? He was a good little fella. At least we got all the money back.
I'd take it kindly if you'd give the widow Pettibone the money I invested.
That's a lot of money, Mr. Oglesby.
Not enough. Not nearly enough.
Well, come on, Jeff. Let's get back to the mine.
Jigger, ain't you fellas gonna take yours?
We don't want it. Don't need it. Come on.
Yeah. We'd spend it on booze anyway.
And I tried to steal from them. You know, my boy, I'm an unmitigated scoundrel. I shall ask the judge for 20 years. You know, Hoss, Pete here never wanted to steal that money. All he ever wanted to do was to marry Big Red there. It's all he still wants to do.
Marriage? Did anybody say marriage?
I did. Hunsy Bunsy.
Sweetie pie.
You know, I wonder if the sheriff could put Pete's bill on my tab.
Mr. Throckmorton, I'll do everything in my power to see that you get your wish. Ain't much of that Scotty shale. Ain't much of it left. Couple of drops. Yeah. Can't get over how pretty old Big Red looked in her brand new wedding dress. Old Pete was as spruce as a brand new tattoo.
You know, I can't get over those people letting Throckmorton and Pete go scot-free after them stealing that money.
Well, Paul, they didn't really steal it. They were in charge of the money, and everybody figures they just took a ride with it and then brung it back.
Yeah. Oh, didn't Dan have any plans for this thing?
Yeah. His missus took him back east with her. Said that folks just wasn't ready for it yet. He's gonna save them for their boy.
I didn't know they had a boy.
They ain't now. Come the middle of June. Dad burn it. I still say it would have worked.
Don't you men know there's a law against rustling?
Well, if you're going to hang us, you might as well go get your rope. It won't do you no good, though. There'll be more of us. A man's got to eat.
A man should be able to eat without stealing.
That's easy for you to say, Mr. Cartwright. Some of us have been out of work for over 4 months. Any money we had went to feed our families a long time ago.
You're miners, aren't you?
We were. We ain't thieves, Mr. Cartwright. We just can't get any work. More men being laid off every day. There ain't a mine working in Virginia City.
It's pretty bad all over the Comstock, Paul. I know Wheeler there. He ain't no thief. Used to be foreman on the Gould and Curry.
I know. All right. You killed that steer. Better take him with you. But pass the word along. We won't stand for anybody stealing our beef. Rustlers or miners.
They're getting pretty desperate.
Hungry men can cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it happened, Ben. I'll get some warrants sworn out and...
Well, Roy, we didn't come here for that reason. No, you can't blame a man for wanting to feed his family, to keep his children from starving.
We gotta take them in. If we don't, you'll start losing cattle by the hundreds. We got an awful lot of men out of jobs here.
Yeah, we saw most of them as we was riding in a while ago.
If then mines don't pick up soon, well, that many idle men spells trouble.
Roy, we don't want to get anybody arrested. All we want to do is, we'll tell you that we'd like to offer a few head of cattle maybe every day to help tide things over. And we'd like to do it through you. I know it's not much, but...
Well, it's a lot. It'll keep them people from going hungry.
Maybe it'll keep the rustlers off our land, too.
Yeah, we'll take them, Ben, and be obliged to you.
Well, you know, Roy, whatever happens to Virginia City affects our ranch, too.
Sure is a big way of looking at it.
Take it easy, Roy.
Goodbye, boys.
What he was talking about. If you know something, why don't you tell us?
Yeah, tell us what you know.
Now, I haven't been down on the Thunderhead.
But there is a shift down below, ain't there? And they got the shift locked in, and they're sending food down to them, ain't that right? Of
course it is. Well, all right, I guess that's no secret.
Oh, we delivered that stock.
Oh, good. We'll bring in a few more head tomorrow. What's going on?
Seems there's a lot of talk about a strike in the Thunderhead.
In the Thunderhead? You sure you're not mistaken?
Ain't no mistake about it, Paul. Wait till old Adam gets back from San Francisco and hears about this. He always swore there wasn't nothing in that Thunderhead but sand and gravel.
Yeah. Hey, you know, it's a shame it's not next door on a Golden Curry. You got some stock in that one, don't you, Pop?
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the stock. I just hope that talk about the strike in the Thunderhead is true. Well, let's go down.
Hey! What more do you want? The Thunderhead owners are trying to keep the news quiet. Why else would they keep a shift locked down below?
Well, all I know is that Frank Furnace knows his mining. And he don't go around buying dry holes.
Just don't understand this.
Why, Paul? It ain't the first time a Bonanza's been struck on the Comstock.
Hey, Roy. Mr. Cartwright. Mr. Cartwright. Doggone it, you won't have to worry about them critters of yours no more. The Thunderhead hit it big.
Roy.
Sure is exciting, ain't it?
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you about. Can we talk inside your office?
Sure.
Good. Boys, I'll be a little while with the sheriff. I'll meet you back at the hotel later.
Okay, Pop.
See ya.
Right. Let's go here and see what's happening.
What's on your mind, Ben?
Well, let's talk about the strike in the Thunderhead.
Now, that's beginning to shape up like a lot more than talk. This is the best news to hit the Comstock more than 6 months.
Yeah, guess you're right. If there's any truth in it.
Now, what makes you say that?
Now, Roy, Jim Bronson ran the Thunderhead for 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Now, he's the best mining man in the Comstock Lode.
Pretty good.
He told me that the Thunderhead was a dead hole. Now, his foreman, Liam Flores, told me the same thing.
Oh, they could both be wrong.
Guess they could. But Jim seemed pretty positive.
Maybe Jim's just sour because he made the mistake of selling too soon.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to ask him again. Just to make sure I heard him right.
I'll see you.
Yeah, you heard me right, Ben. And all this talk about a new strike is just a pack of lies.
I sold the Thunderhead. It's none of my business.
Oh, Jim, I wasn't making an accusation. I was just asking.
Well, what do you expect me to do? Those people out there are friends of mine. You've seen them. They've been dead men for months. Now they're coming alive. Now there'll be something to live for. Jobs, maybe. Ben, at least they got hope. Do you want me to destroy that?
Jim? What do you plan to do?
Can't decide. Furnace and Cunningham are up to something. They offered me $10,000 to go along with them. To say that I went down the Thunderhead and seen a new strike.
Well, did you go down? Did you see the new strike?
I told you there's no strike in the Thunderhead.
Well, Jim, if you need money
I'm
badly...
not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about those miners out there. I'm thinking about the whole town. Ben, do you know what happened if even a false boom started? San Francisco money would start coming in. And maybe some of the closed mines would get a little courage and open up. There's a lot of men out there that need work. Some of them would get it. Now, do you want me to go out and tell them there's no possible chance of any silver in the Thunderhead? Do you want me to take away their last hope?
Jim, you're so right about Virginia City. It's in a bad way. It's tottering. But it hasn't fallen. You give it a false boom. You give it a few months of false prosperity based on nothing. And you'll be giving it a final push, and Virginia City will really collapse, only it won't be a depression. It'll be a catastrophe.
Yeah. Thought of that, too.
Have you given Furness and Cunningham their answer?
No, they're coming over this afternoon.
What are you going to tell them?
I've been honest all my life, Ben. I guess I'm too old to change now. They're not gonna like it. But don't worry, Ben. I get into it, and I'll get out of it. But thanks, Ben. Thanks for coming by. I needed somebody to talk to.
Mr. Bronson, I thought we had come to an agreement about this.
I told you I'd think about it. I have. The answer is no.
Aren't you being pretty high-handed about this? Mr. Furness here, I believe, has just as much knowledge about mines as you have. He says he's found plenty of silver in the Thunderhead.
And I say if there's any silver in the Thunderhead, it was hauled in from somewhere else. And that makes the whole deal crooked. Gentlemen, the answer is still no.
Mr. Bronson, you're making a sad mistake.
He's on to us, Jack. He just blew the whistle on the whole deal.
Oh, did he? Horton?
Jack. Do we have to do it this way?
Do you want Bronson talking all over town? Horton, you know what you have to do.
That's what I'm paid for.
Horton. Be careful.
Sure. Ain't I always?
Let's get out of here. Take it easy. Get his money. I want this to look like a robbery. Come on.
Never at the bottom of a depression like this. This is the worst I've ever seen.
Oz? Hi, Roy. Whatever it was, I didn't do it.
You sure look guilty to me. Ben?
Roy, come on in, sit down, have a cup of coffee.
No, thanks.
Well, what's on your mind?
Did you see Jim Bronson yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, I had a long talk with Jim.
I got some bad news, Ben. Jim's dead.
Jim's?
He was knifed last night, right outside his office. Looked to me like robbery.
Roy, that whole Thunderhead, the strike. There's no strike there. The whole thing's a phony. It's a swindle. Jim told me that Furness and Cunningham offered him $10,000 to say there was silver down at the Thunderhead. There's no silver there. He told me so himself. He was waiting for them to come over so he could tell me he wanted no part of the deal.
Ben, that's a pretty serious accusation. You got any more than that to go on?
Well, how much more do you need to go on?
Well, Ben, ever since the mine started closing down, there hasn't been a week go by but what, at least 2 men have been killed and robbed by
Oh,
road agents.
sure, on the divide or down on D Street, but not right downtown in an office building. Boy, I'll bet you Furness and Cunningham had him killed in order to shut him up.
Just to protect a phony silver promotion?
Yes, just to protect a phony silver promotion.
Ben, I don't know what's been going on down at Thunderhead, but I'm sure it's going to help Virginia City. Now, what you have is just an unproven story that you say was told to you by a dead man. Now, I don't feel like going out and telling them miners to give up hope and to sit back and start starving to death.
They're going to start starving to death when the news comes out that the whole thing's a phony. What are you trying to do, make an excuse for murder?
Of course I'm not, and you know it. I'll investigate it, but until I got a lot more to go on, I'm going to keep still about it.
Paul, are you sure about what you said?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, Roy will look into it.
I'm going to look into it, too.
Listen, I think you'll let the sheriff take care of it.
I don't want to talk Jim into turning down the deal. That makes it my responsibility.
Thunderhead's going crazy! Up to 23 with no sellers! 23! Come on, let's get out of here!
Vern, I don't blame Sheriff Coffey for not wanting to get in front of that crowd.
Well, if Pa thinks it's true, he's gonna have to sooner or later.
Yeah, just soon they calm down a little bit first. Trample a man to death if they tried to spoil their fun now.
Hey, you know what I was thinking? You know, swindler, no swindle. A man ought to put some money in that stock, you know what?
Joe, you just sit right down. Stay right here just like Paul told us. Drink your beer.
I got it. Yes, sir, gentlemen, as I was saying, I'm a very careful man. If I didn't believe Frank Furness' theory about there being one continuing vein of silver somewhere in the lode, I wouldn't have put 5 cents into the Thunderhead. But now I'm glad I trusted him. And, gentlemen, I'll tell you something. If you can find some Thunderhead stock, buy it. Buy it while you can still afford it. How do you say we have something to eat?
Let's make out with the sheriff, Bob.
I doubt if there's a more honest man alive than Roy Coffey, but he just won't budge until he has more evidence.
He's got your word, ain't he, Paul?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure Roy believes me, but he claims it isn't enough. I'm afraid he's right. Isn't enough.
I'll get you a beer.
No. Take a sip of yours. What are you doing?
Oh, I was just figuring. I don't mean to be disrespectful, Pa, but swindler, no swindle. I think a fellow ought to pick up a couple of shares of that stock.
Thunderhead's up $80 a share! Yay!
Hey, you see what I mean? Hey, $80 a share, Pa. $80 a share. Now, I got some money of my own.
Paul, I think he might be right. I got a couple of dollars.
Now, listen to me, both of you. Keep out of the market. Unless you want to be buried in worthless paper. $80 a share.
Yes, sir.
Come on, I'll buy you a dinner.
Golden curry in there. Well, Mr. Cartwright, I've been wanting to talk to you.
Gentlemen, I'm listening.
You've heard what's happening in the Thunderhead.
I've heard a lot of wild rumors.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Isn't that right, Frank?
I've been in this business a long time. I know silver when I see it.
Mr. Cartwright, I understand you own quite a bit of stock in the Golden Curry.
I suppose I do.
That's right. I was just going to advise you to hang on to it. If the deal I'm working on goes through, you may be able to trade it for some Thunderhead stock.
Mr. Cunningham, I don't believe there's a single solitary ounce of silver in the Thunderhead.
Mr. Cartwright, I think you'll admit that Mr. Jock McPherson of the Gould and Curry knows a little bit about mining, too. You have enough respect for him to buy some stock in his mine.
What's Jock McPherson got to do with this?
Mr. McPherson thinks we have silver. In fact, he feels so strongly about it, he's considering merging the Gould and Curry with the Thunderhead.
I don't believe a word of that.
Why don't you ask Jock McPherson?
I'll do that.
That's quite a story, Cartwright. And you think it comes out fraud, eh?
I don't know of anything else you can call it.
Well, I don't know, Ben. 9/10 of Virginia City's labor force is hanging out on street corners. Our economy's coming to a standstill. Now, if there's one chance in 100 that it's not fraud and that we can break out of our depression, I'm willing to take it and put good money behind it.
You knew Jim Bronson. Now, Bronson knew the Thunderhead like the back of his own hand. He told me there wasn't an ounce of silver in it anywhere.
I'm no fool. I've demanded proof. And Cunningham said he'd give it to me tomorrow morning at the Thunderhead shaft. Well, why don't you come out, too?
All right. I will, Jock. I will. I'll see you in the morning. Come on.
Well, Jock, we're not producing much as yet. We're in the same boat you are. We've got to have capital before we can expand our operations. Here comes Frank with the ore cart. Gentlemen, he'll be able to answer most of your questions. Let's take a look.
I sure hope Pa doesn't have to eat his own words.
Yeah, Cunningham seems mighty sure of himself, don't he?
Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen, take a look.
Hey, that's good enough. Fantastic. Whereabouts in the mine did you say this came from?
Now, Mr. McPherson, if this was the Gould and Curry, would you answer that question?
Well, just how much is this stuff worth?
Well, we figure about $2,500 a ton.
Well, Mr. Cartwright, no silver in the Thunderhead? Well, can't you believe your own eyes?
You mind if I,
Help yourself. Well, Jock, you've seen it, and you've heard my offer. We'll sell your company a half interest in the Thunderhead for $50,000 cash.
I'll have to take it up with the board of directors in San Francisco. You'll have your answer in a week.
You'll recommend it?
Well, if it assays as rich as you say it does, I'll recommend it. This is beautiful. Beautiful. Pictures.
Well, you can't lose for winning. Thunderhead and Bonanza and the Gould and Curry teaming up with them.
Hey, Senor Cartwright, venga, por favor. Oh, so nice to see you. Tell me, what can I
Hey.
do for you?
Where are the little ones? Where's your family?
Oh, I sent them away. I sent them to my wife's sister of a cousin to Carson City. They have a nice little rancho place there, the goat's milk. It's good for the children. Excuse me, sit down, my friend. Excuse the house the way it is.
Leon, I want your opinion about something.
See.
What do you think of that?
Ay, Chihuahua. Que plata.
Good, huh?
Good. As rich as anything I've ever seen in my life. Where you get this from?
The Thunderhead?
It's impossible. This cannot be.
I saw them break up a whole cart of this morning.
4 years, 4 long years, Jim Bronson and myself, we work every foot of the Thunderhead. It's Vasya. You know what mean Vasya? Empty, worthless, was, is, and will always be.
That came from the Thunderhead.
Somebody put it there. I mean, I know the Thunderhead like I know my own house.
You think the mine was salted?
I don't know, senor. What else can one think?
I think that Furness and Cunningham are trying to pull off a swindle. I think that Jim Bronson was murdered because he knew what they were up to.
My friend Jim Bronson. By Furness and Cunningham?
I think. I have no proof.
Senor Cartwright, look, if it's true what you are thinking, I'm...
Leon, how can we find out for sure about this?
There's only one way. Will you go inside the Thunderhead with me?
Oh, sure I will, but they're not going to let us go into the Thunderhead. They have guards posted around the entrance to the mine.
Leon knows another way. Holmes?
What is this?
This is an old air shaft that will get us down to the first level.
Does anybody else know about this?
No. Oh, just the men who help us, to dig it out.
Yeah, but how about the...
Barnes and Cunningham don't know nothing.
I thought there was a full ship locked up down here. There are only 5 men in there. You sure we're going in the right direction?
I follow the overflow of the ore cart. That's why I know that this is the right direction.
What's the matter? Well, is it silver or isn't it?
All my life, I have mined silver. In Peru, in Guanajuato, in Tasco. All my life, I have never seen such rich ore. Senor Cartwright, this is Bonanza. The real Bonanza. It's magnifico.
I don't see how you and Bronson could be so wrong about the Thunderhead.
I don't know. Maybe maybe we were not so wrong about the Thunderhead.
This is silver, isn't it?
See, this is silver. But who's silver? Huh?
What do you mean, who's silver? What are you talking about?
I will tell you in the morning. Vámonos.
Pete? Is that you, Pete? Pete! Somebody in the mine! All right, everybody out and get after him! Come on!
Hey, there's somebody in the mine.
Well, there can't be. We've been here all the time.
We can't take any chances. Come on. What's wrong?
We heard someone in the tunnel and thought they was going out this way.
Jack, somebody made it down to the working face.
He'll never get out to tell about it. All right, some of you men check the other tunnels. Come on, let's get back outside.
Look, there they are.
Anybody recognize him?
Not the little one, but the big one looked like old man Cartwright.
Hey. Hey, Frank, what's this?
Air shaft to one of the upper levels. Probably been there 2-3 years.
Who laid out the first diggings?
Bronson and Leon Flores.
Then it had to be Flores. And Flores is a friend of Cartwright's. Get Flores.
No, Jack, not Flores. I know him. I've worked with him. He's a good man.
Every cent we own is sunk in this rock pit. Either we're ruined or we're millionaires right now before he gets a chance to put two and two together.
How about Cartwright?
I'll handle Cartwright.
Sit down, Senor Cartwright. Now, this is the map of the whole Virginia City.
Yeah.
And this is the map of the Thunderhead, right here. Now, this is the Golden Quarry, where the first Bonanza was.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Savage Mine, Belcher, and this is the Thunderhead. Now, the pockets are here and here. This is the boundary that is between the Golden Quarry and the Thunderhead. Now, I think that this is where we saw the silver, just below the boundary line.
Then you do think we were on Golden Curry land?
It's a possibility, but how can a man be sure? I first must get the legal description and check it against the map.
How long would that take?
5-6 hours.
That long?
But then we can be sure.
And if it does check out that we were in Golden Curry land, I can take that information to the government engineer and have Cunningham and Company blown right out of the Comstock.
I hope so.
Then I'll see you in the morning.
Mañana, ¿eh? Mañana, señor Cartwright.
He was a good man.
Now, do you believe me?
Ben, I never did say I didn't believe you. I just said I couldn't arrest anybody without sufficient evidence, and we still haven't got it.
There's enough evidence there for me.
Ben, you're not the law. Now, don't get the idea that you are. If there was a shred of evidence to go on, I'd follow this thing through all the way, even if it meant killing the best news this town has had in months. But I haven't got it, and neither have you. So you stop pushing me, or we're gonna lock horns.
I'll find you the evidence.
You do that, and the sooner the better. But make sure it's proof.
What do you think now?
What do you want us to do, Pa?
I'm riding in to see Jock McPherson. Take care of things here. I'll see you in town later.
Right.
Jock, I tell you, there is a bonanza there, but it's not in the Thunderhead. It's in your own mind.
Oh, Ben, I'm a mining man. The indications are not right for ore on that side of my mine. Don't you think I haven't checked that out?
I have seen it with my own eyes.
All right, then. I hope you're right. It would be the greatest thing that ever happened to the Gould and Curry. Well, as soon as I hear from my board of directors...
You're going to wait to hear from your board of directors on a matter as important
I'm only the superintendent. Only last week they were threatening to close down the Gould and Curry entirely. I couldn't buck Furness and Cunningham on my own and then find that I'm wrong.
I'm trying to tell you that you're not wrong. I saw the silver in there with my own eyes. All you have to do is demand a survey.
Well, I'll do that, Ben, just as soon as I hear from San Francisco.
Just as soon as...
Well, I've got to think of my job.
And I've got to think of two friends. Both of them dead.
Friends, there's scarcely a man here who doesn't own stock in the Thunderhead. And if you don't own stock, you all have your own businesses around town. But every one of you stands to gain from what we've found in that mine. But there is one man who stands to benefit enormously by seeing Virginia City fold up and become a ghost town. But a man who would like to extend his tentacles and devour everything on this side of the Washoe, the same as he's eaten up everything on the other side of it. Well, the man who stands to gain the most by spoiling Virginia City's greatest boom is Ben Cartwright.
You're Cartwright, ain't you? That's right. What about it? Where do you get off talking down this Thunderhead strike?
Look, mister, we don't want no trouble with you.
You don't, huh? Well, you're gonna get it. And you better tell that stupid old man of yours if I catch him around here again, I'll bash his brains out.
What'd you say?
I said I'll bash his brains in.
That's what I thought he said.
Oh! Oh! All right. All of you get this straight. If any of you's got any notions about bashing anybody's brains out, especially our paws, then you got us to contend with first.
Now, who else do you want me to turn to, Watkins? You're the resident engineer for the Virginia City area.
I'm not arguing that point, Ben. Of course you turn to the right man. That's why I'm here.
Well?
But you're making some pretty serious accusations. And Furness and Cunningham are important men. Now, I've got to have something more concrete.
The Flores had those charts. He and Bronson charted out the whole Thunderhead area. Do you believe that?
Of course I believe it. I've got copies of those charts. It's a government regulation.
Then what else do we need?
Ben, the federal government cannot move on mere suspicion.
Now, look. I have reason to believe that the Thunderhead is tapping a rich pocket in the Gould and Curry mine. The only way that can be proven is by making an underground survey. Now, I have no idea how to make an underground survey. You know how to do it. That's your job, isn't it?
Well, of course it's my job. But, Ben, I cannot go into that mine without the express permission of Cunningham and Furness. Now, that's the law.
You're telling me you won't go into the Thunderhead?
I'm telling you I can't go into the Thunderhead. Not legally.
Well, how about illegally? Now, look, Watkins, you've known me for a long time. I'm not the kind of man who goes around breaking laws, but we've got to get to the truth of the matter.
I don't know. That mine's got to be well guarded, Ben.
Well, Leon and I got into an old abandoned air shaft.
Yeah, I know about that air shaft. Oh, they've got to have a guard on that by now.
Now, look, suppose we take Hoss and Joe with us. Now, if they can distract that guard long enough for us to get into the air shaft.
Oh, you're treading on dangerous ground, Ben. But Jim and Leon were my friends, too.
You make the survey.
And I'll probably live to regret it.
They just come back from checking that air shaft.
This would be a good time for us to get started, then.
Yeah. We shouldn't be too long. But if that guard goes back to check the air shaft...
We'll take care of him, Paul.
Yeah, you two be careful.
No, first you gotta run the tunnel down. This side, and then down this side. First you gotta run the tunnel down. This side, and then down this side.
What are you doing?
We just crossed the boundary line of the Golden Curry.
Are you sure of this?
I've been down here a dozen times. This is where the old tunnel ended. This is new shoring.
That explains that silver deposit. That's not in the Thunderhead, it's in the Golden Curry.
That's what it looks like. Come on, let's take a look. You better let me get a fix on this ore face, Ben. We'll need it for evidence.
Guess Virginia City will boom after all, huh?
Yeah, so will your Golden Curry stock. This side, and then down this.
Hurry it up. Don't want to get caught down here.
You know, from the look of it, a person will be able to break through into this from right here.
Come on, let's get him.
Where'd that come from?
Sound like the north section.
Trouble.
Otto, take a couple of men and check the tunnel entrance. The rest of us will check the lower levels and the ore face.
Come on, Phil.
Look, there they are.
Let's say moves.
Okay, well, let's move it.
Mr. Watkins, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank heaven you two are all right. How are you?
Yeah, fine.
You better get some help with those men down here.
Right.
Oh, we'll go see McPherson. Tell him he's got a real bonanza.
I don't know how thick it is, but it's at least 150 feet wide. That's quite a hunk of silver, Jack.
And 20,000 people will live better. Men, women, and children. Prosperity's back on the Comstock.
Wonderful, eh? What's the matter with you?
I don't know about Horsey. I'm just wondering why I didn't buy some of that Gould and Curry stock when you did, Pa.
Well, I've been trying to tell you, you're just not as smart as your old man. Come on, I'll buy you a drink with part of my profits.
Come on, Charlie, get the line moving, will you? Come on, make your X and move on. You can't even make a nick.
Hi, Mary, little Joe.
Jake Parson. Well, by golly, it's good to see you.
I figured you might feel like that.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, too, Ben.
Well, come on in.
Not many days happen like this, Ben. I figure a man ought to enjoy them while he can.
Yeah.
Like it says in the good book. It ain't what a man's got. It's his begats that counts.
Well, Jake, I agree with you there. Guess we're lucky to have our children.
You're right. Come into this world with nothing, we go out with nothing.
Yeah.
What reason for a man's existence if it ain't to look out for his kids?
Very little, I guess.
Well, I've been blessed that way. 2 strapping boys and a girl. Of course, the boys have given me some trouble. But not my Mary. She's as good as they come.
I agree with you, Jake. She's a mighty fine girl.
Sometimes I used to think that the only thing that could raise on my land was a ruckus. 2 years without rain or grass. And when the grass came, fire and rustlers.
Well, you've had your share of hard luck, Jake. There's no denying.
The Lord's will. Keep working hard and sweating. And things get better. I'm going to send 600 head of cattle to market this year.
600 head? Well, by golly, Jake, that's wonderful.
Ben, I want to do my share for the young'uns.
Well, every father should.
You got good land to spare, I got cattle. And together we can scrape 'em up a nice little spread. Start 'em in right.
Yeah.
My Mary and your little Joe. Been hoping that'd happen. I'm purely happy it did.
Jake, I don't rightly know what you're aiming at.
Well, now, a church wedding would have been more to my taste, and a barbecue and a dance after, but...
I finally tracked that sorrel down, Pop. How you doing, Mr. Parsons?
Well, little Joe, how's Mary?
Mary?
Joe, sit down.
It was bad enough for Mary to elope, but the least you could do would be to bring her back afterwards so we could help celebrate.
Hey, Mary eloped, huh? Who with?
Oh, now, little Joe, I know about you young'uns. I couldn't be happier.
Jake believes that you eloped with his daughter, Mary.
Me? Oh, heck no, sir. I didn't elope with anybody.
Now, little Joe, there's no need to lie about it.
Well, I'm not lying. I haven't even seen her.
Mary told me and the boys that you're going to take her on a picnic yesterday.
Me?
Yes, you. She drove out in a buggy to meet you a little after noon. And she ain't been back since. Now, if you didn't elope, suppose you tell me where she was all last night and where she is now.
Well, I don't know. I told you I haven't seen her.
Where was he last night?
My son is old enough to answer for himself.
You know where I was. I was out looking for that sorrel. Got late, so I camped in Buckhorn Flats.
It's your answer, Jake.
Where is she? Now, look, all I can tell you is the truth. I didn't see her. If she went on a picnic with someone, it wasn't me.
Jake.
She said she was going with you?
Well, you must have heard her wrong.
She says you've been courting her for 2 months. You deny that?
I have to because it isn't true.
You calling my Mary a liar?
No, sir. I'm saying there must be some mistake.
Appears to me there is some kind of mistake. Some bad mistake. Appears to me, too, there's going to be a wedding when my Mary comes home and tells me the truth about all this.
Jake, I know you're upset, but my son doesn't lie.
Neither does my Mary. Parsons may not be as rich as Cartwright's, but we do know the difference between right and wrong.
we found Mary, Pa. Martin tells me whether it looks to him like this girl was hit, choked, shot, or whatever before she took that fall.
Well, we can understand your position, Rick, and we'll go along with anything that's necessary. Do you want us to stay in town?
Might be a good idea, Mr. Cartwright. Jake and his boys brought the girl's body in. Doc Martin's making the examination right now.
You gentlemen will excuse me, I'm late for an appointment. However, I must advise you that even if there is an inquest, there's no need for you to stay in town. There was no witness to involve little Joe. I'll be able to handle everything at the proper time.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Bye, sir.
He's right, Mr. Cartwright. I can't keep you in town unless you want to stay.
Well, we'll stay in town until after the doctor's made his examination. We'll be in his office if you need us.
All right, sir.
What's the doctor going to be able to tell us?
I don't know. The more information we have, the better we'll be able to reason with Jake Parson.
Well, that girl fell 2 on her feet. I don't see how they could tell anything.
Doctor, were you able to reach any conclusion?
There's one conclusion that was easy to reach.
What was that?
Every bone in her body was broken.
Was there anything to indicate that, well, it was anything but an accident?
Not specifically.
Well, then it was an accident, then.
Could have been. Or it could have been suicide.
Suicide? What makes you say that?
She wasn't married, was she?
Well, you know she wasn't.
She should have been.
A son.
Oh, Pi. He's never even alone with her.
I'm gonna have to tell this Deputy Connolly right away. I guess you know that, Ben.
Yeah, I know that. I was just thinking about what Jake Parsons gonna do when he finds out the truth. Well, thank you, Doctor. Don't you better go home.
John. Oh, hello, Doc. What's got into Ben Cartwright? You little Joe went by me like I was a rock in the road.
Oh, it's nothing personal, I'm sure. They're concerned about Mary Parson being found dead.
Mary Parson dead? When was this?
Our brothers found her body yesterday. Happened the day before, though.
The day before? I saw her that day around noon.
Where'd you see her?
Why, right on the road to Indian Leap. Must have happened right after I saw them.
Them? You mean there was somebody with her?
Sure there was. She was with little Joe Cartwright. I even waved to them when they went by.
You sure you saw her with little Joe Cartwright?
Don't you think I know little Joe when I see him?
Well, you'd better be sure, because you're going to have to tell that to Ben Cartwright.
Tell Ben Cartwright why?
Because as soon as you've signed a statement to that effect and everything's legal, you're going with me out to the Ponderosa to arrest little Joe for murder. Doc, you better witness this.
All right.
Mr. Hardner?
Howdy. Rick, Mr. Hardner.
Howdy, Hoss.
Howdy, Hoss.
Your pa home?
Yeah, he's inside. Come on in. Come on in, man.
John. Deputy. Well, come on in, gentlemen. Sit down.
Thank you, Mr. Cartwright, but we're here on official business.
Oh, well, what does that mean?
You go ahead and tell them what you told me, Mr. Hardner.
Sorry as I am to say it, Ben. I saw little Joe and Mary Parson driving up toward Indian Leap day before yesterday.
You what?
You were in Parson's buggy, little Joe. Your paint horse was tied on behind.
Mr. Hardner, that's not the truth.
I wish it'd been somebody else that saw you, Joe. It ain't easy to do this to a friend.
Pa, he's lying.
Oh, little Joe wasn't in that buggy. He wasn't nowhere near Indian Leap.
I know that.
Well, what are we doing standing here listening to this for?
Well, John, for some reason, thinks that he saw little Joe and Mary in that buggy. He believes it.
Well, that kind of believing can put a rope around Joe's neck.
And you still say that you weren't there.
Of course I say it. I wasn't within 20 miles of that place.
All right. Comes down to your word against Mr. Hardner's. In a case like that, a jury's going to have to decide it. I'm sorry, Joe, but I'm going to have to take you in.
Get your horses ready. We're going to town. We believe you, boy. Never doubt that for an instant.
I'll take that, Joe.
Stop right there, all of you.
You don't have to do this. Little Joe's under arrest. We're on our way to town.
Get out of the way, Cartwright. I come out here to get one, but I'll take two if I have to.
Little Joe's not wearing a gun. You can't shoot an unarmed man.
What chance did he give my sister?
I never even saw your sister.
And that's what you'd say, sure. But she said she was going to meet you, and that's good enough for me. Get out of the way, Cartwright!
Don't be a fool, Pete. Let the law handle this.
Well, Cartwright's a big name around these parts. One kind of law for you and another kind for the rest of us.
That isn't true, Pete.
Not this time, it ain't. I'm going to have me an eye for an eye. You ain't out of the woods yet, Cartwright. Wait till my pa and brother hear about this.
Let's get it over with, Joe.
Well, I'll say it again. I wasn't within 20 miles of Indian Leap.
Then you got nothing to be afraid of.
Now, haven't I? All I saw was a rabbit, a buck, and that sorrel. They gonna testify in my behalf?
Well, I guess somebody better tell Jake Parson about Pete.
Don't worry. I don't doubt that all the Parsons have heard about it by now.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I gotta say hi to Wood. You boys coming along?
No, we'll keep Joe company.
Yeah, make sure you don't get no uninvited company.
That's a good idea. I didn't want to hurt Pete, but I just couldn't let him kill somebody in cold blood, could I? I had to shoot.
Of course you did, Ben. Of course you did. But right now, the Parsons are the least of your worries. Well, let's face it. This has turned out to be a lot more serious than I'd anticipated. With a witness like John Hardner. John have any reason to lie, Ben?
Oh, no, not John Hardner. What?
Ben, this is a difficult question for me to ask you. Are you sure that little Joe is telling the whole truth?
You asked me to doubt my son.
No, I'm not asking that. All I'm asking is, do you think there's any chance that little Joe...
If I were to start doubting my son at this point, everything I've lived and worked for would be lost.
Ben, I'm your lawyer. I have to think the way a jury's going to think. Believe me, with this latest news about the girl and John Hardner's testimony, this is going to come before a jury.
Hiram, what do we do?
Well, you two have a good time at the reception?
Oh, Father, it was absolutely wonderful. Jerome made such an impression on the governor. The governor hardly noticed anyone else.
I was surprised how young he is. We did seem to have a lot in common. He even wanted to know my views on politics.
That's fine, Jerome, that's fine. Right now, politics can wait. We've got something much more urgent to consider at the moment.
Well, yes, sir, of course. As a matter of fact, it's been on my mind all during the reception.
I'm glad to hear that. You come up with any ideas?
Well, sir, I don't like to say this about the dead, but with that girl's reputation, I don't think there's a jury in Virginia City that would convict little Joe.
Jerome, what a dreadful thing to say.
Well, I'm sorry, sweetheart, but we're fighting for a man's life.
Hiram, suppose we took Jake Parsons' buggy back up to Indian Leap again and have John Hardner show us exactly what he saw.
That might be an excellent idea, Ben. If there's any possibility of showing that John Hardner was mistaken, why, I think that's just it.
But what happens, sir, if it confirms John Hardner's statement? Then we'll have no case at all in court. No, sir, I think we've got to fight this out on the basis of the reputations of that girl and Mr. Cartwright's son.
Mr. Bell, we are going on the assumption that little Joe is innocent.
Yes, sir, of course. I'm just pointing out that legally we might be taking unwarranted risk.
You got a point there, Ben. There would be some risk involved.
It's a risk I'm perfectly willing to take.
I hope we don't regret this, Mr. Wood.
I want the man that shot my son.
The rifle, Jake. Put it down. You won't need it in here.
Where's Ben Cartwright?
I'm right here, Jake.
Pete took the law into his own hands, tried to shoot an unarmed man. Mr. Cartwright did the only thing he could do in self-defense.
It's true, Jake. I saw it.
Hardner, seems to me like you jumped the fence. You was going to testify little Joe was with my Mary. Now you're siding with Cartwright's.
I'm not siding with anybody. I saw little Joe and Mary up at Indian Leap. I'll say it under oath. I also saw Pete trying to shoot an unarmed man. I'll swear to that, too.
I had no choice. I'm sorry it happened, Pete.
One of mine dead, one shot. And all I hear anybody say is, I'm sorry.
There's one thing we can do, Jake. We can take your buggy up to Indian Leap again in the morning.
Why?
So John Hardner can show us where he was when the buggy passed him. We can all get a good look at what he saw.
Hardner says he's seen little Joe. You want him to change his mind?
My son's life is at stake. I'm just trying to get at the truth.
All I'm thinking about is my daughter was killed. And your son did it.
Well, now, supposing it wasn't little Joe. Suppose it was somebody else. Wouldn't you want to know who it was?
All right, boys. We'll give him that chance. But if we find what I think we will, there won't be no need of holding a trial.
All right, bring on the buggy. Hold it.
Hey, John, is this as close as you got to that buggy?
Just about the exact spot, Ben.
Well, we can't see the man's face, and we're afoot. How can you see him sitting as high as you are?
I didn't say I could see his face from here. I sure saw his paint horse tied on behind the buggy.
He probably turned and looked when you got down on the road.
Stop putting words in his mouth. Move the buggy on down the road. Now you ride down to the road and make your turn.
I remember. Now I can tell you how I knew it was Little Joe. When the buggy made the curve, the man had his foot on the dash. I could see his leg.
What does that prove? When did you see his face?
I didn't have to see his face. His leg was enough. He was wearing his gun tied down to his left leg. That's how I knew it was Little Joe.
Well, what'd you find out?
Just what we knew we'd find. Well, Deputy, what do you say now?
Inquest will be in my office at 2 o'clock. I'm just seeing to it that whatever needs doing is done proper and legal.
My sister's dead. The man that pushed her off that cliff is still alive. You call that legal and proper?
I said there'd be an inquest and a trial.
There'll be a trial and a hanging.
We heard what you said, Mr. Hardner. And if you don't say it again so everybody can hear, you won't live to get off that witness chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hardner. Will the foreman of the coroner's jury please rise? Have you reached a verdict?
Yeah, we sure have.
State it.
Mary Parson was murdered by Little Joe Cartwright.
Jim, you know better than to say that. All you're to determine is the cause of death. Anything else will be decided by a judge and jury at the proper time.
Well, that is the cause of death. Little Joe Cartwright pushed her off of that cliff.
If the jury finds that she died by violence, it'll have to be it. Deputy Conley?
Joseph Cartwright, you're hereby bound over to stand trial for the murder of Mary Parson.
Never thought owning a paint pony and being left-handed could get a fellow in so much trouble.
Hiram, the boys and I know that Joseph didn't murder Mary Parson. I don't care what anybody says. He didn't do it.
Pa, wait a minute.
What?
What Joe just said about the pony and being left-handed.
No?
What about it?
Well, now, Hardner didn't say he saw the man's face. He just said he saw a pink pony and a left-handed gun.
Yeah, it was enough to hang me.
Yeah, but is it?
What are you driving at, Adam?
Well, why would Mary Parson tell her father that she was going out with little Joe when we know that she wasn't?
Yeah. Why would she, Paul?
Well, obviously because she didn't want her father to know that she was going out with whoever it was.
Yeah, and whoever it was must have a left-handed gun and a paid pony, right?
How about that, Hiram?
Fine, but how do we prove it?
Well, first, let's find this whoever it was. Hoss, you check with the harness makers. Adam, check the livery stables. Hiram, I don't know why we didn't think of this before.
Ben, if this works, I'll get Jerome Bell working on it right away.
Sweetheart, what a surprise.
I really shouldn't be here, but I wanted to talk to you. And Papa said you'd be here working.
I'm glad you're here. I'm always glad to see you. The shy and proper Betty May.
All these books. Do you have to go through them all?
I'm planning little Joe's defense. Or trying to. If I had it my way in the first place, we'd be in a lot better shape.
Jerome, I'm sure Father knew what he was doing.
I hope he lets me take over this case. I feel I can do as well as any man alive in that courtroom. But I have to win your father over first. Sweetheart, you could help me with that.
This is such an important case, Jerome. Little Joe's life's at stake.
That's what I mean. If I win this case, I'll be the most sought-after lawyer in Virginia City. We can get all the things that we've planned for. Your father will take me on as a full partner and... Well, who knows? If the governor was a lawyer, that's the way he started.
Of course, Jerome. I'm sure all those things will come in time. But right now, we must be thinking about little Joe.
Thinking isn't enough. The evidence clearly indicates his guilt. Well, I don't think he's guilty. But it's what I can convince the jury of that counts.
Well, I can't believe he's guilty. Jerome, I don't believe he'd push anyone off a cliff.
Given sufficient provocation, any man can commit a murder. That's not my definition, sweetheart, but you'll find it in any legal text just the same.
It was such a shuddery feeling sitting in that buggy on Indian Leap. I dreamed about that girl, only she didn't have a face. You know, I always was a little envious of her. She was such a pretty girl.
I never paid much attention to her. She was cheap and flashy. But let's not talk about morbid things, darling. Let's talk about us. You will help me with your father.
Jerome, must we always talk about my father?
Why not? We both want the same things. A big house, beautiful clothes, fine horses.
I just want happiness. I just want... No. I have to say this, Jerome. You want success so badly that sometimes I wonder if you want to marry me just because I'm Hiram Wood's daughter.
You silly girl. You know better than that. All I want is you.
Cartwright, I'd like a word with you. I said I'd like a word with you. Well, to what do I owe this unexpected pleasure, huh? I thought you and Jerome were going to the governor's ball this evening.
We are, Father, a little later. Jerome went to the hotel to change. He's been working so hard. I was lonesome, so I thought I'd wait here. Am I interrupting anything?
No, just catching up on some odds and ends. Here, sit down. I'm sorry I've been neglecting you lately, darling, but I just never seem to get caught up. Now this nasty business with the Parson girl has to come up.
I know, Dad. It's been a strain on Jerome, too. I wish you both could slow down.
Now you sound just like your mother used to.
I can't imagine Mother ever scolding you about anything.
She was a wonderful woman. Wonderful woman. I just hope that you and Jerome will have the happiness your mother and I had. Of course you will.
I hope so, Dad.
Well, you don't have to sound so desperate about it.
Dad, we don't have to lie to one another. Most girls my age are married 5 years and have a family. I'm not the prettiest girl in town, and I just don't want to make a mistake.
No. What's this? Have you and your young man have words or something?
I suppose I'm being silly. It's just that sometimes it seems as if Jerome loves his work more than he does me.
Oh, so that's it. Well, sweetheart, I doubt very much that you're the first woman ever to say that. Jerome's a very ambitious young man.
That's it. Ambitious. So terribly ambitious. It frightens me. Dad, at the reception, when Jerome met the governor, it was just as if suddenly I ceased to exist.
Baby, now you are being silly.
I suppose I am. I shouldn't be bothering you with my troubles.
Of course you should. Of course you should. That's what I'm here for. Now, you run along and have a good time. World looks a lot prettier under a full moon, you know.
Thanks for talking to me, Dad.
Betty May, what are you doing here? Is anything wrong?
No, there's nothing wrong. I just wanted to see you.
You shouldn't have come here.
Why? I'm in love with you. I was lonesome.
Someone might have seen you. You know how the gossips are in this town.
Let them talk. I'm not ashamed of my love. Are you?
Of course not. I just didn't want you to see how I live. I'll be with you in a moment.
But I want to see where you live. I want to know everything about you. I want to know every thought you have.
Come on, sweetheart, let's go.
Who's the girl in the picture?
Well, just some girl, nothing important.
That's a picture of Mary Parson, isn't it?
I picked it up today in connection with the trial.
You knew her, didn't you?
Betty May, you're being unreasonable. Being a lawyer, I meet many people.
If you had told me, I wouldn't have cared. I knew there were other women. Jerome, why did you lie to me?
There wasn't anything to tell you. There wasn't anything between us.
Then why did you lie?
Well, I didn't want your father to know. I was afraid he might object. Darling, please, let's forget it.
She was very lovely, wasn't she? She was prettier than I am. Younger and prettier.
That isn't so. You're the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Darling, I love you. Don't you know that?
No, I don't know it. I wish I did, but it isn't so. I guess I knew that right from the start.
How can you say that? After all the plans we've made.
A big house, fine clothes, the best carriage in town, the governor's mansion. Those were your plans, Jerome, not mine.
Well, what's wrong with that? Why do you object to those things?
Mary Parson couldn't get them for you, could she?
I told you to forget about Mary Parsons.
Can you forget her?
She was nobody. She was cheap. She was trying to blackmail me. She was going to go to you.
You killed her.
No. It was an accident, sweetheart. We went for a ride. It'll be all right. I'll win the case. Little Joe will go free, and we can get all the things that we've always wanted. What are you going to do?
I'm going to tell my father.
Betty May, I couldn't let you do that. I couldn't let you do anything like that. Betty May. Betty May. Betty May.
Right there, Cartwright.
Don't move.
You want to see your paw, don't you? Move.
What's this all about, Pa?
Oh, these stupid people think they can take the law into their own hands.
We don't think it, we know it. We're gonna move on that jail, take out your son, and string him up.
Little Joe didn't kill your Mary. We got the proof. There's a bill of sale for a paint pony.
Let's see. Here's one for a left-handed holster signed by John Solly.
Jerome Bell.
That's right. Do you believe us now, Jake?
I hope this ain't a Cartwright trick. All right. We're gonna pay a visit to Mr. Jerome Bell. All right, boys.
Bill! Stay away! All of you! You try anything and I'll throw her off of here!
Bill, it's no use. We found out.
Well, you don't try to stop me!
Better go to your daughter.
Jerome.
Betty May, it's all right. It's all right.
You know, I don't think I could ever get used to living in there.
Good to have you out, Joe.
Oh, I don't know. It's been kind of peaceful around the Ponderosa the last couple of days.